Hi, and welcome to the Metapod, a Pokemon TCG podcast that revolves around the evolving meta. My name is Jake. I'm one of the hosts of the Metapod podcast, and right next to me right here, stand still in time, is Shauna. Shauna, how you doing today? That was a joke. Shauna, I'm actually running a solo episode today. Shauna's, I believe, in Texas, or he's not home. He's in a completely different state, completely different area. I think it's for Mother's Day. He's visiting some family now that everybody's vaccinated and whatnot. But he's not in a situation to be able to record, too many noises, things like that. So he's like, Jake, I don't know if I can do the pod. So there were some news that came out, and thankfully there's news that we can talk about now. And then there's a couple different things that Sean actually told me that he wanted to talk about. And there's some pretty interesting topics. So we're going to go over a couple things today. There were some new products announced or even revealed both here and in Japan, which is pretty cool. And then especially if you are a pure collector of sorts, there's some big news that has been rolling around that you probably have seen on Twitter that is you're really going to need to know about this. So without further ado, let's get on. I've got a busy night. I'm not going to lie. I've been so busy lately. So we're going to get into the first thing right here in this. It is photos of the Intelion Vmax League Battle Deck. Now, this is off of Pokebeach.com by the Waterbender Master. What does this say? Water Pokemon Master. That is what Pokebeach goes by. But we talked about a little bit ago how the Intelion Vmax decks, the League Battle decks, was going to be the level 2 series of their new sort of theme style decks. They transitioned from the sets theme decks over to these like leveled decks. And we saw a couple of them. The Blastoise and Venusaur decks were a level 1. Now we have the level 2 in Intelion Vmax. And now we actually know the set list of the Intelion Vmax. So if we look in here at this, I'm going to be honest, this is one of the better, this is honestly this is more impressive than like the ADP or the Pikarom League Battle deck. I'm not going to lie here. I think this is very, very good. So if you don't see, maybe you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, I'll try to read off some of these cards to you. And even if you're on YouTube and maybe you're having a little bit of trouble seeing, because this is my setup in comparison to Sean. So anyways, if you want to see the Metapod podcast, it is up on my YouTube, Atrocious Gameplay, if you want to go check that out. In this deck, there's a 2-2 line of Intelion V and Vmax. That is normal. I think we've seen that with the things like Pikarom and Alolan Raichu and ADP, Zacian. So it's pretty standard in that sense. It is very established as your main attacker, Intelion V and Vmax. It also has a 3-2 line, of Snom. This is actually like a really, really good line. I would argue that you maybe want to run kind of a 3-3 possibly, but once we get into a little bit more of this stuff, it'll kind of make sense why it's only a 3-2 line of Frostmoth. The Sabo line, there's a Sabo to Intelion baby line, the one from Sword and Shield base. That is a 3-2-2 line. So that is the main reason why Snom and Frostmoth are a 3-2, because you have a whole different evolution line set in there. And I think this is super, super nice. Because Sabo to Intelion, you're allowed to get trainer cards as you're evolving, for those of you that don't know. So theoretically, it's going to be easier to get out those Snoms, the Frostmoth, things like that. But we've got a couple other things. There's some Zigzagoons in there, 2 of them, to get those pings off, along with a couple scoop-up nets in order to be able to do that. Maybe you even want to scoop up your baby Intelion and get that evolution process of trying to get more trainer cards all over again. It's very, very nice. You also have a Suicune in there, and Suicune, not the best attacker, but it is a League Battle deck. It is level 2, so it's not like the perfect build of Intelion Vmax, but there are some good things in there as well. You got 3 air balloons because you need to be able to switch out your Frostmoths as your pivot Pokemon, maybe even your Intelion Vmaxes. You got 2 bird keepers in there, 3 bosses orders. Now, this was the most surprising to me, that 3 bosses orders were in this product. I believe in the trainer toolkit, there were only 2 bosses that you got in that product. And it having 3 is super, super insane in my opinion. Got a couple capacious buckets, 2 of them in there, 2 evolution incense, 4 great balls. So pretty good ball search, I would say, along with 4 Pokeballs. That's pretty nice in my opinion. You got a 3 and a 4 of Marnie and Professor's Research. So not only are you comboing your draw spore with 2 Bird Keepers, but you also have 3 Marnies and 4 Professor's Research. Absolutely phenomenal in this list. You have an Ordinary Rod. I think Ordinary Rod is pretty decent. I think it's a good card to have in there. You have 2 Scoop Up Nets, as I mentioned earlier, 1 Training Court, and 10 Water Energies. And to be honest, this is pretty similar to like if I was determined to go Intelion Vmax with a baby Intelion line and a Frostmoth, this is pretty close to a list that I would like build to bring in like an online tournament or to League or something like that. This is honestly one of the best products, in my opinion, that Pokemon has provided, that TPCI has provided. It's continued. You know, we've talked about this again and again with the League Battle Decks, the trainer toolkits, things like that, that these products just keep getting better and better for players and accessibility to better decks, right? We know that the World Championship decks are super good, right? Because they're World Championship replicas, but they're not allowed to be played because those backs are not Pokemon certified. You know, they've got the different backs on those cards. So this is a really, really awesome product. I'm super excited that this is level 2 as well, because that's just absolutely phenomenal in level 2. And if we look at this right here, this is honestly another super sweet thing that I like about this League Battle Deck. For those of you watching on YouTube, Spotify, I'll tell you exactly what it is. There is a little guide in this League Battle Deck that exactly tells you how to upgrade your deck. It's very, very fascinating in my opinion. It's telling you that you've got some options and things that you can put in along with it. Another Intelion V and Vmax to get that consistency, because your main attacker is Intelion and Intelion Vmax. So probably want like a 3/3 in there, I would say. And this is what it's telling you. It's also telling you about different cards like Crobat V, Eldegoss V, Telescopic Sight, using more Scoop Up Nets, having switches in the deck. Maybe you don't want an air balloon because you want your tool card to be the Telescopic Sight. Well, you can put in switch cards instead for that. And this is the cool, in my opinion, this is what makes this League Battle Deck the best Pokemon product in the last several years, at least, just because it is a guide. It is a guide. You got the level 1s of the Blastoise and Venusaur. They were all right. They're good decks. They're good things to start off with. But now you're going to pick up something else. You're going to pick up another easier deck. You know, it's got a lot of cool functions in it. It's got a lot of cool card interactions. You know, Frostmoth. It's got the Inteleons. You have different combo things like the Scoop Up Net and the Bird Keeper and things like that. But not only does it just give you that deck to play with, it also tells you to upgrade. It also tells you how you can upgrade it and the improvements of things to make your deck more consistent or to make it better. And this is honestly phenomenal. I applaud TPCI. I applaud TPCI for making a product like this, because this is awesome. This is exactly what players need. If you want more players, right, you need to somehow teach those players how to play the game. And that's exactly where this is going, and how to improve and get better. So then when IRL events come back everywhere across the world, I believe mostly out of America they're going on right now. I know some places around me that are doing it. I'm not going to those yet. I just got my second vaccine though. So maybe in 2 weeks I go to a local place to try to play. But I gotta be able to build Single Strike Urshifu though, because that's the only deck that I really want to play right now. That's the only deck that I like. That or Orbeetle. I've been having a lot of fun with Orbeetle. But anyways, this is a really, really cool product. It's very, very good. It is retailing for $25, releasing on shelves May 21st. For those of you that want to pick this up, I think Intelion is a pretty good Pokemon. I think Intelion V and VMAX is actually pretty decent. And I feel like, you know what? Singles are really cheap right now. You're good to buy some of these. If we go to TCG Player right here and we type in Intelion to see what the V and VMAX is. The V, $2.05. The VMAX, regular VMAX, $12.43. So honestly, if you're looking to pick up a playset of Intelion VMAXs, I would highly encourage picking up this product because you know what? For the same price of buying 2 VMAXs, right? Intelion VMAXs, you're going to be able to pick up one of these decks, which is going to give you the same amount of Intelion VMAXs, but it's also going to give you a lot of great stuff. Maybe you don't have a playset of Frostmoths and Snoms. Maybe you don't have a playset of the Intelion from Sword and Shield base, or maybe you're missing, you know, some Zigzagoons or Boss's Orders or Capacious Buckets or Training Courts or whatever. You know, maybe you need some Marnies and research. This gives you a full set almost of research and Marnie only having 3 in this. So at the same price of buying a playset of Intelion VMAXs, you can get everything you need just from buying 2 of these League Battle decks. And it also comes with a deck box. It also comes with the dice in there with the big damage counters that TC Evolutions, I believe, started doing it. And this is just a phenomenal product, in my opinion. I absolutely love this. I think this is incredible, to be honest, and I'm super excited to see these. And maybe if you're just looking for Intelion VMAXs, this is another thing that I think. If you're just looking for Intelion VMAXs, you know, you got your playset of Vs, you don't need any more research or Boss or Marnie or Capacious Bucket or Snoms and Frostmoths. Just wait until this League Battle deck comes out, because once this League Battle deck comes out, the price of Intelion VMAX is going to drop. It's not going to be $12. Trust me, a week after the League Battle deck comes out. So if you're looking to just snag the VMAXs, I think a week after is probably a good time, because then those will have circulated and more will hit the market, and you know, that's all fine and dandy at that point. But now that we've gone over, there's a little sneak peek of what we're talking about. I have to switch tabs. I only have 2 monitors to work with. If I had 3, this would be a lot easier. But the next thing that we're going to work with right now, maybe you're looking to get one of the Intelion VMAX decks and you're thinking, maybe I'm going to go to like Walmart or something. This is off of bleedingcool.com for anyone who is wondering about this. Walmart recently put this out. It says, attention trading card vendor. For those of you that can't see this, whether you're on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or whatever your listening platform is. If you're on YouTube, you can read this, but I'll read it to all of our audio listeners. The trading card categories have been removed from the sales floor, and sales of these items have been suspended due to inappropriate customer behavior and increased demand. Please do not stock these items until further direction from management has been given. Questions and comments can be directed to the management team. Thank you, store management. So, this is a big deal. Before, we weren't fast enough to get stuff off of the shelves. Now, at least at Walmart, things have gotten so out of control that they're just taking it off the shelves for now. Management is going to think of a higher solution for this. Maybe the Pokemon cards just aren't worth it in their opinion. I mean, they don't get like a huge stock or anything like that. So Walmart taking out Pokemon cards is not going to affect their bottom line. I can assure you that. But this is a big deal in my opinion. I think this is a very, very big deal. So what I highly recommend, find a local game shop around your area. Talk to them about, hey, I'm looking to get a League Battle deck, you know, when it comes out, or even any sort of product release. Go to your local game shop, ask them for pre-orders, stuff like that, because here's my guess, Target's going to do this too. I've seen this picture flood all over Instagram with different accounts, you know, having like unique pictures. It's not just this picture right here floating around everybody and everyone's just reposting it. I've been seeing different pictures of this. I think this is starting to happen in a lot of Walmarts. I have not been able to look in my area specifically. I've been a little bit too busy to go to Walmart in the last couple days. But I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know what Walmart's going to do. I feel like Target's going to do the same thing. The trading card collecting is pretty much out of control right now. It's very hard to be a Pokemon card collector. But remember, singles are pretty inexpensive. You can get a Crobat V for like $6. Crobat V for $6. That's a busted card. Get your playset now before IRL events start coming back. But if you're one of those people that goes around from store to store trying to find product at these specific major retailers, I don't think that Walmart's going to be a thing for you. I think that maybe you keep going to Walmarts around your area until you start seeing this, and then you just need to take Walmart off your radar. As of right now, this hurts to see this. It really sucks. I hate it, but that's just, where we are right now in the Pokemon trading card game. So moving on to the next thing, there is something that I think is very exciting, and I think for those of you that just love collecting cards, maybe love collecting the products as well, you're an abstract Pokemon collector in the card game per se. This new product is coming out according to Pokemon or PokeGuardian.com. My apologies, PokeGuardian. New version of Family Pokemon card game set officially revealed. Now, this was oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name right now. This was like the Charizard, Mewtwo, Pikachu Battle Academy decks. This is exactly what this is, and Japan has now announced a new version and revealed it to fit more of these Sword and Shield sets. Before, it was Sun and Moon with the Battle Academy sets, and that was award-winning. That was like Board Game of the Year or something like that, or like it won a whole bunch of awards. It was a very, very good product, and especially if you have young kids, people learning about the Pokemon trading card game, or maybe you just love collecting different products that Pokemon and TPCI has produced. This is a really, really cool product. I'm excited that this is coming back in a new version. This continuously grabs, the casual players and teaches them how to play the game. This is very, very awesome. You've got a Cinderace deck, a Pikachu deck, and a Tyranitar deck are the 3 Pokemon that are coming in. Tyranitar getting another card, Cinderace getting another card, and you bet the face of the franchise, Pikachu, is also getting a new card. Now, this is a little different than what I would say is like, we think about the level 1s and 2s of the new decks, the theme decks, the battle arena decks, things like that. This is not an upgrade per se in terms of like, this is a better deck of the sort. This is basically just a new version with Sword and Shield cards. It's going to feature different cards like Appleton V. Love the big chonker apple pie boy. You got the Cinderace. We already talked about that. You got Greninja V as well. The Pikachu, another Lucario V, and then Tyranitar V for the Pokemon specifically. Kind of the main peeps of the Pokemon. There's not really, in my personal opinion, there's no translations on the site of these cards. I personally don't think it needs translations. I've seen the translations from Tony Lay on Twitter, and they've talked about how it's just very vanilla. You can see if you're watching this on YouTube how a lot of these cards don't really have like actual effects. They're just attack names and damage. So like, and the effects that are on some of these cards are not really like worth noting, I would say. So don't think that, if this card comes to the USA, it's going to be the next thing. I'm going to build a Greninja V deck. The frogs are back. That's not what this is saying. It's a cool product, but not really. There are some cards, though, in here that are pretty cool. You get Leons in this box. Leons, Boss's Orders. You get Bug Catcher. You get this new card called Chef. I believe it heals like 70. Yeah, heals 70 damage from your active Pokemon is the Cook. That's what it's called, not Chef. My apologies. But one of the crazier things about this Battle Academy box is it's bringing back new arts. Oh gosh, that was way smaller than what I thought it was going to be for those of you watching on YouTube. It brings back Shauna. Shauna is a card that has been previously produced in the Pokemon trading card game. I believe it was the X and Y era, like early X and Y. She was printed, and then Judge. Both of these are familiar cards that I think during their time in Standard saw play. We're going to look at Shauna real quick in the Pokemon trading card game and what she does. This is a awesome shuffle draw supporter. Now, shuffle draw, we've seen it in the past, like Cynthia. Cynthia was a very prevalent card from Ultra Prism that was around in Standard and used a whole ton. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. Cynthia is better than this because it draws 6 cards instead of 5. But let's think about this. Let's say you're building a deck and you know what? Maybe you're balancing the idea between Marnie and Shauna. You don't really want your stuff to go into the bottom of the deck. Maybe, you know, all of your resources are super, super nice, and you feel like at any time there's going to be at least one card that you don't want at the bottom of the deck, right? There's going to be, you're going to get a hand of 4 draw supporters, maybe. You get all your research in one hand plus a Shauna, and you're like, well, I'm going to Shauna to shuffle these researches back in the deck, because if I Marnie them, if that Shauna was a Marnie, then those supporters are going to be at the bottom of the deck, and then I have to reshuffle it, and boom. It'd be way easier if Shauna just kind of threw that in, which it's hard to compare with Marnie because Marnie also disrupts your opponent. So there's different values in how you use Marnie rather than how you use Shauna. But this card, again, was a little, I think it was prevalent in its time during, maybe it was Phantom Forces. But it was a brief time. It was a brief time that this was a very, very good card. But also, or I wouldn't say a very, very good card, but it was a used card, I guess I could say. But Judge, for those of you that don't know what Judge is, this is a old supporter card. This has been around and re-released a couple times. You can tell this one right here is from Unleashed. That's it. You've got X and Y Breakthrough right here. You got a couple Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Magic cards in here. Then you got Forbidden Light, and I believe, yeah, Lost Thunder also reprinted a full art from there. So a lot of different reprints from this card. But what does it actually do for those of you that don't know? Play one supporter each turn, yada, yada, yada. We know that. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck and draws 4 cards. Pretty good. A lot of times in prior to rotation and Lost Thunder had left the format when I and Sean was playing, or had started playing, Judge was used a lot by decks like Pikarom or something. You know, once Pikarom sets up, it's good to go. And if you're not ready, right? If Pikarom is all set up, you're playing Pikarom and your opponent is not set up entirely yet, that is a huge disruption card. Because if you're set up, you're okay if you got like a semi-dead hand. You know, you pull a couple cards and it's like, this isn't the greatest hand, but I can work with it because I'm already set up. You know, if your opponent's not set up, putting them to 4 cards is a big deal. There's a big reason why Let Loose Marshadow as well was a big deal. I'll try to pull that up right here for those of you that don't know. This is an old card from Shining Legends, but basically it has Judge as an ability. It has Judge as an ability, and this was a card that was played in a ton of decks. This was everywhere. Like, this was an awesome tech card that people played. A lot of people thought it was toxic, should be banned. It ended up getting banned, so now it's not really worth anything, but I love Marshadow. Such a good Pokemon in my opinion. But anyways, back to the Battle Academy box 2.0. This is really, really cool because that means that we could see a reprint of Judge and Shauna in later sets of the Pokemon trading card game here in the rest of the world. Super cool, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind having Judge. I wouldn't mind having Shauna. I really think we need more draw supporters because right now everybody's running Research and Marnie as pretty much their only draw supporters. And I feel like having something like Shauna could be pretty all right. I feel like Shauna is decent, not great, obviously, but decent. And I feel like just having a more variety of decent draw supporters is good. Bug Catcher is a draw supporter, but I don't think it's a good card. Don't even worry about it. Anyways, now that we are through that conversation, let's go to the last kind of thing that I have to talk about today. This is a product that probably the least amount of people of this podcast are interested in, my personal opinion, but I honestly think this is one of the cooler things produced in the last, I don't know, maybe year or so. Well, I don't know. The Nessa box and the EV Heroes box are pretty cool things in my opinion. But anyways, we've got this cool thing coming. I believe this has never been done in my personal thought. I don't know if they've ever done this before, but in Japan, Pokemon Stamp box revealed. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Snap lately. Moon, Goose, and Beauty looking back promos revealed. Now, if you're on YouTube, you can see these cards right now. These are actually phenomenal cards. But what this is the Pokemon company over in Japan is printing a lot of stamp collections. It's a very exclusive set of stamp collections where they're Pokemon themed related. Now, we're going to go over a couple of them real quick. In here, we've got a couple like really, really cool cards. We've talked about how the Pokemon company has gone a little bit. I'm actually going to zoom that out because it did not. Maybe I'll just zoom in a little bit. You're able to tell what these are if you're watching this on YouTube. But here are the stamps. I'm showing them on screen right now that you're able to get if you buy this in Japan. If you see here on screen, there's a Venusaur stamp, a Charizard stamp, and a Blastoise stamp. A lot of people are going to recognize these three cards. These are replicas of the base set cards that were printed way back in the day. The base set Blastoise, the base set Charizard, and the base set Venusaur. They are replicas of them in the forms of stamps, and they have a couple other stamps down here. They've got a Scorbunny, the only Galar starter Pokemon in the Pokemon franchise, Scorbunny, Yamper, Skwovet, Zacian, and Zamazenta. Those are also stamps. These are a really cool collection in my personal opinion. Just these alone. Because I don't know if Pokemon has ever produced like stamp replicas of Pokemon cards. I think that's a really, really cool and abstract thing and something that would be really, really cool for the collection. But you may be able to tell, it might be a little bit hard on YouTube, but you may see that there are some other stamps as well. And we're going to go into that here now. It is two stamps of a kind of beauty looking forward and moving forward with a Pikachu, and also a couple Cramorants diving. These are actual Pokemon cards and stamps. They've made Pokemon card promos of this that you buy with these stamps kit that are just absolutely phenomenal. The Cramorant is a reprint, I believe, of the Cramorant that has the Galt Missile for 3 energies, do 60 damage per Arrokuda that you discard off the bench or something like that. I believe this is a reprint of that card, but the new art on it is absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm completely in love with it. And the Beauty looking back, I believe Beauty looking back is the official name of that from at least like the translation. Here's a little close-up for those of you watching on YouTube, the comparison between like the stamp and the Pikachu. I believe the stamp, this is the original stamp that the Pokemon card is based off of, and how stunning and gorgeous this looks. This is going to be super expensive. A lot of people are going to try to get their hands on this. Remember also that when you buy stuff from Japan, like specifically from the Japanese Pokemon Center website, you have to have a Japanese address. So the way that you're going to be able to get this is probably through some sort of middleman, unless you know someone directly in Japan, which, by the way, that would probably still be a middleman type deal. But you buy it from someone, they buy it from, or you put it in order from someone, or you tell a friend, hey, I want this. They order it at the Pokemon Center and it arrives to their house, and then they ship it over to you. That's how it works in Pokemon Japan, but these are so good. These are so beautiful. These are going to be worth a lot of money. I almost think this is just me theorizing, especially this card right here, the one with the Pikachu and the beauty moving on, or I'm sorry, looking back. It's hard to tell sometimes. But if you're struggling to see her kind of looking back, you can think of it in the outfit that she's wearing. This is very traditional in Japanese. This greenish cloth right here around her waist. It's almost like if you were to, I'm sorry, I don't know the exact word of it, but think of like if you tied a sweatshirt around your waist, you know, the hood and stuff is hanging out in the back. That's kind of what it looks like for the people listening on the audio. I'm trying to describe it as best as I possibly can. I'm not 100% immersed into Japanese culture as much as I would like, but it's you can see that she's looking back, you know, because that cloth, that green cloth is right behind her, the same direction that like her head is facing. And so this card is going to be really expensive. This and the Kramer, in my personal opinion. This is going to run, this is a hot take. This is going to run with the full art supporter of like the Champions Festival. This is, oh my gosh, I need to find that card now. There was a card a couple years ago. Pokemon cards, Champions, Festival, Japanese. Gosh, I hope I can find. It's not Champions Festival. It's a full art supporter of the card that I'm thinking of. Japanese promo. Maybe I can find it. No, these are all just like pictures. Anyways, if you know what I'm talking about in that specific card, it's a full art supporter. It's got like all the Sun and Moon characters on it. It was kind of like the hoorah to the Sun and Moon era over in Japan. And it's worth like over $1,000. It's actually insanely expensive. And I feel like this card is going to be the same way of the Pikachu and the lady, the beauty looking back. But man, even if I don't get the cards, the stamps are a really cool part of the collection that I think that I would really want sometime. It's absolutely phenomenal. Let me know in the comments whether that's on YouTube, or feel free to tweet at us over at the Metapod on Twitter, or even in the comments down below on YouTube. You know, do you like this card? Do you like these stamp promos? You know, it's tough to say, like, are you going to chase it? Because these are very hard for the average person to try to get. But, I mean, these are phenomenal. If I can get my hands on these, I will. If I can within a reasonable price. I definitely need to know someone, and boy howdy, it's gonna be really, really difficult to get this. But for those of you watching and or listening, and you made it this far on the Metapod, thank you so much for watching. It's been a crazy last couple weeks for Shauna and I. You know, Shauna on vacation. That's why he's been frozen the whole time if you're watching this on YouTube. But just an awesome opportunity to be able to hang out with y'all and continue the Metapod. We're very, very busy. This is the craziest time of the year for both of us. We appreciate everybody's support. Make sure to leave a 5-star review if you do love the podcast, and maybe even if you don't love the podcast, leave us a 1-star review. Tell us what we could do differently. We've had one 1-star review. Speaking of reviews, I actually have to read a review of this podcast because of Sean being gone. I'm in a whole bunch of shambles and a whole bunch of dimmer. I don't even know what that phrase means, but let's try to find a 5-star review to go to as of right now. I'm trying to think. I have the last one that we did. Here it is. It is a 5-star review from Nixilis. I probably said that wrong. I'm just here to get a video version. Just kidding. Hey, I appreciate that. Great Pokemon TCG podcast. It's a great cast for anyone who loves the Pokemon trading card game. And I say especially those of us who play Standard regularly and like to stay on top of the developments in the Standard meta. Listen to several different podcasts for Pokemon TCG, and this is my favorite so far. Thank you so much for that wonderful 5-star review. I appreciate it as always, my friend, and I'm sure Sean appreciates your love and support too of everybody here. But chat, I said chat as if I'm live on Twitch. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much. Remember, Luke Metal, if you're playing Players Cup, Luke Metal is getting more popular. Pikarom is not getting more popular, so keep that in mind when you're doing your Players Cup matches. Best of luck to all of you. I will see you in the next episode. Bye!